Prabhu, we are on live.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, devotees. Om Kyanatimirandasya Gyananjana-Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have been meditating on Lord's appearance in prison cell of Kamsa and being transferred to Gokul, and Nanda Maharaj celebrating the Nandotsav. That's what we're reading. So we continue from text 13. Avadyanta vichitrani vaditrani mahotsave Krishne Vishveshware Nante Nandasya Vrajamagate. Now that the all-pervading, unlimited Lord Krishna, the master of the cosmic manifestation, had arrived within the states of Maharaj Nanda, various types of musical instruments resounded to celebrate the great festival. So, by the appearance of Krishna, the musical instruments were being vibrated. All the Brajavasis and also even the heavenly, tendons of heaven, they were also actually playing musical instruments, being very much overjoyed. Then text 14, Gopa parasparam hrishta dadikshira gatam budhi asinchanto vilipanto navanitascha chikshipu. In gladness, the cowherd men enjoyed the great festival by splashing one another's body with a mixture of curd, condensed milk, butter, and water. They threw butter on one another and smeared it on one another's bodies. It's just a beautiful way of celebrating the festival. Here we see that we can just imagine, barely we can imagine that what could be the level of opulence that all the Brajavasis had. When they are having a festival, they are throwing on each other the yogurt, condensed milk, butter, and water. This is actually very appropriate because in the month of August, when Janmashtami comes, when Krishna actually appeared, it's very hot in India. So any occasion to actually have, pretext of throwing on each other some liquids, water substance, is actually very much welcome. So here we see the Brajvasi, they're throwing yogurt, condensed milk, and butter. So that means they had so much of milk and yogurt and butter that they could afford to throw on each other. Of course, I remember, in childhood, sometime when we would get sick, with certain sickness. After the sickness we recovered from the sickness, my mother used to always give us bathing with the milk, milk mixed with barley. She used to always give bathing with milk and barley water. It's considered auspicious to remove, all the inauspiciousness, following the sickness. But in Vedic culture, that was actually a very common thing, to bathe with milk butter, yogurt. This was a very common thing. Here we see they're throwing at each other. How much opulence they could have that they're throwing milk and yogurt. We can't even get the genuine milk nowadays. Forget about butter and everything else. The genuine milk nowadays, of course, there are you know especially in today's context, there are two kinds of milk being sold in the market. Mostly, all the stores that sell the milk, they are called A1 milk. They call it A1. But that milk is actually, according to the medical analysis, is not even milk. It's filled with a lot of toxins, which actually causes obesity and all kinds of problems, including heart attacks. The regular milk that we get in the stores is called A1 milk. In fact, there is one author, he has written a book called Devil in the Milk, So that he actually gives a proper analysis. Even a person who has no medical terminology understanding can actually understand that book. He explains that how the milk, which is actually manipulated through, manipulating the breed of cows, is actually filled with a lot of toxins. So we don't even get to see the real milk. The real milk that actually comes from the particular breed, Indian breed of cows, which is called Gir cows here now. Now we start getting here. When I came 20 years back, there was no concept of, Gir cows or, A1 or A2 milk. It's only recently people have become more and more conscious because of seeing the results of that milk. So the A2 milk actually is the real milk. It is said to be having the traces of gold also in that milk. That is what all the Brijavasis had. They had milk, they had yogurt made from that milk, butter. Even the butter that we get, it's not really the buttery quality it has. According to Ayurveda, even the butter that is churned out in a particular way, that is having the Amrita qualities. Like we read in the Amrit Manthan's pastime in the 8th canto of Bhagavatam, that demigods, they put some herbs in the milk and started churning. So similarly, to get the butter, nowadays the process they use is they just skim the cream from the milk. After boiling the milk, you get a lot of cream, then you skim out the cream and directly churn the cream. And churning process also, they use the machines which just rotate in one direction. But, some of the Ayurvedic doctors, their opinion was that first of all, the milk has to be converted into the yogurt. And that yogurt to be churned in bi-directional way. Like you see, the butter is churned with a churning rod, which is turned clockwise and anti-clockwise ways, I know in childhood we used to do with the hand only. It takes a lot of time and labor-intensive effort. But machines, they rotate only in one direction. So even that one directional rotation deprives the butter from certain qualities. So now, therefore, in India, they have come up with the machines also, which actually move in both the direction. It rotates in clockwise and then rotates in anti-clockwise direction. They have that kind of machines now. But the process, by which you have the genuine milk, yogurt, and butter, that has become so obsolete for almost, many, many years now. People don't even have the real milk, access to the real milk. Forget about butter and yogurt and everything else. The milk, the basis of all these ingredients are not available. And therefore, people wonder that in spite of drinking milk, how can they be unhealthy? So anyway, if anyone interested, they can actually probably read that book, Devil in the Milk. Some devotee shared with me that many years ago. But here we see the opulence of Brajavasis. They're throwing milk, yogurt, butter, and water on each other on the occasion of Janmashtami. Text 15 and 16. Nando Mahamanastebhyo Vaso Alankar Godhanam Sutamagdhavandibhyo Yenne Vidyopaji Jeevinaham Taistaikamay Adhinatma Yathochittam Apujayat Vishnur Aradhana Arthayam Swaputrasyo Dayayacham. The great minded Nanda Maharaj gave clothing, ornaments, and cows in charity to cowherd men in order to please Lord Vishnu. And thus he improved the condition of his own son in all respects. He distributed charity to the Sutas, Magdas, and Vandis, and the men of all other professions according to their educational qualification, and satisfied everyone's desire. Now, this is actually a very beautiful, indications given in this verse. It especially says, Taister Kamer, Adhina Atma. Nanda Maharaj, who were actually magnanimous. Adhina means very magnanimous. The magnanimous soul, Nanda Maharaj, he actually satisfied the desires of all people. Now, that is not possible even for Kubera. Even Kubera cannot satisfy everyone's desire. Although Kubera is in charge of all the wealth of demigods, but it's not possible even for Kubera to satisfy everyone's desire. So how is it possible for Nanda Maharaj to do that? That is being answered here. So because Nanda Maharaj had son, who's actually in the previous verse, as I was explained, because of the appearance of Krishna, and also in the forthcoming verse will be very much clear. Krishna's appearance actually bestowed all the opulences that are required. So Nanda Maharaj could afford, in the previous verse we read, he also giving charity to the Brahmanas. So not only Brahmanas, he gave charity to even the cowherd men. Now, of course, cowherd men themselves were very wealthy, but receiving the gifts on the birth of Krishna, even cowherd men were fully satisfied and happy. You see, in modern times, the big corporate heads, their whole focus is how you can exploit all the employees and get maximum profit by their work. And give them minimum, whatever minimum we can afford to offer them, just give them. However, you'll see there are very few, very rare, exceptional corporate heads. Like I keep hearing a lot about, the Tatas, the owner of the Tata Industries. He actually keeps giving a lot of gifts and money to his own employees and all the employees who are working in Tata Industry. And therefore, all the employees they have so much respect and high regards for him. So we can imagine Nanda Maharaj being the king of Braja. He was not holding all the treasures and all the opulence that he had. By distributing the riches, and to not only cowherd men, even the Magdas, Vandis, and people of all different professions, he satisfied them based on their qualification. He gave them the charity based on their qualifications. So qualifications means not that a person who is, like in modern context, we say he's a drug addict, you just give him a lot of money. So what he's going to do? He's going to destroy himself further. So, of course, there were no such people in the Brajbhumi in the time of Nanda Maharaj. But Nanda Maharaj, he gave charity to everyone based on their qualifications. He satisfied everyone. In fact, it is not that we people in modern context, they think that we can control others by withholding. Nanda Maharaj, he was a perfect king. All the subjects were subordinate to him. Why? Because he was accustomed to give. By giving, we control, not by withholding. There are, sometimes instances we hear here, especially somebody comes from India on a very labor work, So the owner, they take away the passport also, so the person cannot run away or find another job. Right? So it's not by withholding, like even in Brahma Samhita, it is said, Yachakshu Esha Savita Sakala Granhana Raja Samasta Suramurti Ashesha Teja. Yasya Gaya Brahmati Samvrita Kala Chakra Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam. So Raja Sakala Granhana. Sun is considered the king of all the planets. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter that king supplies heat and light. So it's by supplying, it's by giving that one becomes actually the king, not by withholding, by exploiting others. That used to be the nature of the kings. They wanted to keep everyone satisfied in their kingdom. Unlike the modern politician, they want to just collect immense amount of wealth for themselves and then die, unrevealing that wealth to anyone also. So, but here we see Nanda Maharaj. He's giving clothing, he's giving ornaments, he's giving cows in charity, whatever opulence he possesses, he's sharing with all the Brajvasis and all the subjects. And actually, there was one more significant thing here. Yeah, so it says he gave this charity, specifically to says improve the condition of his own son in all respects. So Nanda Maharaj was giving charity with this consciousness that I'm giving this charity to people, and all the people will be very happy with my charity. And if all the people are happy, Lord Vishnu will be very happy with me. Because, we know in the episode of Ranti Dev, the Lord was extremely pleased with Ranti Dev because Ranti Dev saw all the living beings in relationship to Krishna. So Nanda Maharaj is seeing that all these living entities, all the subjects of mind, they are actually part and parcel of Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu. So if they are made happy, Lord Vishnu will be very happy. And by Vishnu becoming happy with me, my son Krishna will be blessed with all the good fortune. So therefore he says, improve the condition of his own son in all respects. This is what thinking of Nanda Maharaj when he was giving charity. Okay. Text 17. Rohini cha Mahabhagam Nanda Gopa Vinanditam Vecharad Divyavasa Strik Kantha Bharana Bhushita. The most fortunate Rohini, the mother of Baladev, was honored by Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. And thus she also dressed gorgeously and decorated herself with a necklace, a garland, and other ornaments. She was busy wandering here and there to receive the women who were guests at the festival. Now, the Rohini is referred here as Mahabhaga, the most fortunate. So, why she is referred as most fortunate? Because among all the Yaduts, especially who lived, in the Mathura or later on in Dwarka, she was the only one who got to witness the childhood pastimes of Krishna. She actually nurtured Krishna and Balram together as mother, along with Mother Yashoda. Now, of course, not only when we say Yadava, it's not only that the Vasudev and all his family was Yadav, but even Nanda Maharaj was also Yadav, because it is explained that especially uh, in the Mahabharata, in Harivansh Puran especially, it's mentioned that there was the Gopa, there was a Kshatriya king named Devamida. Devamida had two wives. One was the Kshatriya wife and one was the Vaishya wife. So from Kshatriya wife, he had a son named Sura, and from Vaishya wife, he had a son named Parajanya. So Sura's son was Vasudev, and Parajanya's son was Nanda Maharaj. In that way, Nanda and Vasudev, they are actually cousin brothers, having the same grandfather, but different grandmothers. That's how the lineage came. So Nanda Maharaj is also Yadav. But here, especially Rohini is referred as Mahabhaga, because she is the only one who would get to nurture Krishna and Balaram together as mother. And naturally, Rohini was in distress because when Krishna is born, that time Vasudeva and Devaki, they are still in the imprisonment. This is the next day of Krishna's birth, when Kamsa actually was trying to kill the girl. So the news was still not out that Kamsa tried to kill the girl, and he released later on Vasudeva and Devaki. So Rohini is still in the distress that my husband is in the prison. But she completely forgot that distress that my husband is in imprisonment of Kamsa. He's being tortured by Kamsa. And she also very, happily participated in the festival of Nandotsav. Nanda Gopa Abhinandita. Nanda Maharaj was also very happy, and he honored, Rohini Devi. So Rohini Devi was honored by Nanda and Yashoda. Nanda Gopa Abhinandita. She was very fortunate and she was very much honored. How she was honored? Nanda Maharaj told actually Rohini that because Nanda Maharaj didn't had a child for very, very long time. The Krishna apparently was born, Krishna and that girl was born to Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda at a very advanced age. So this will be actually pointed out by Vasudev later on the discussion in this chapter. Vasudev will tell actually Nanda Maharaj that you didn't had a child for a very long time. And now at the advanced age, you have got a son. So you are very fortunate. So he's telling Rohini that because you came to our home, you brought good fortune for us. Your feet coming to our home have actually brought all good fortune that we got a son. So in this way, they actually honored her. And she forgot all the distress and she actually received a lot of gifts, nice clothing and ornaments, and she from Nanda Maharaj, and she actually wore all of that. Prabhupada actually explained sometime in this regard that when a woman's her husband is away, or especially in this case when her husband is imprisoned, the chaste wife could not actually decorate herself. But here, the festival is Nandotsav, the appearance of Krishna, Krishna Janmashtami itself. So it was very much appropriate, and there was nothing wrong on part of Rohini to decorate herself and assist Nanda and Yashoda in their happiness to welcome the guests. What she was doing, she was actually going around and welcoming the woman. She was actually trying to assist Nanda and Yashoda welcoming all the guests, especially the women in this case. Text 18. Tata arabhya nandasya vraj sarva samriddhiman harir nivasatma gunaev rama kriram abhun nripa. O Maharaj Parikshit, the home of Nanda Maharaj is eternally the abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead and its transcendental quality, and is therefore always naturally endowed with opulence of all wealth. Yet, beginning from Lord Krishna's appearance, it became the place for pastimes of the goddess of fortune. So, even Kubera has all the wealth because of the mercy of goddess of fortune, Rama. But Rama never leaves the feet of Lord Krishna. So because Lord Krishna appeared in the house of Nanda Maharaj, it appears that Nanda Maharaj's opulence was unparalleled. Because Lakshmi's playground says Rama Kriram. Rama's playground. That means Mother Lakshmi did not want to leave that place. She was always wanted to play there only. In that sense, this is actually a beautiful, ornamental way of saying that the opulence of Nanda Maharaj was actually unparalleled. Text 19. Gopan Gokule Rakshayam Nirupya Mathuram Gataham Nandakam Sasyavakshiyam Karam Dhatum Kurudvaha. Shukdev Goswami continued. Thereafter, my dear King Parishit, O best protector of Kuru dynasty, Nanda Maharaj appointed the local cowherdmen to protect Gokul, then went to Mathura to pay the yearly taxes to King Kamsa. So now it may, appear that why Nanda Maharaj was, going to Mathura. Shouldn't he spend some time? He spent few days, but Nanda Maharaj was thinking, the good fortune always brings some, misfortunes also along with it. And misfortunes are generally when somebody is displeased with you. And somebody displeased means the Vedas actually explain 5 categories of people. If they are displeased with you, then you will have difficulties in your life. Deva, Rishi, Bhutata, Nirna, Pitri. They are the 5 categories of living entities. If they are unhappy with you, then you will have difficult time. So Nanda Maharaj, he performed all the rituals for satisfying the Devas, Rishis, and Pitris. And of course, Nirna, all the other living entities around him, he satisfied by giving a lot of charity before only at the time of Krishna's birth. But after that festival, he satisfied even Deva, Rishi, and Pitris. He performed proper rituals for all of satisfying all of them because he did not wanted any misfortune to come upon his son. Of course, Nanda Maharaj is not, accustomed to following Karma Kand, but because even Karma Kand rituals are very much advocated in the scriptures, Nanda Maharaj is thinking, I will follow these rituals so that my son should remain happy. And you'll find in the Vedic culture, even the decent families who actually follow the Vedic injunctions, they want to follow all these the Karmakandiya rituals, satisfying the Deva Rishis and Pitris, because they want to leave the prosperity for their children, for their descendants. So Nanda Maharaj is thinking, my son, he should have happy, prosperous life. And for that purpose, he actually satisfied all the living beings around him. He performed rituals for Deva, Rishi, and Pitri. Then he thought, Nirna, the king, also needs to be satisfied. And he knew that our king is actually a very evil king, Kamsa. So let me pacify him also. So although it was not the time for annual taxes to be paid, Nanda Maharaj thought, let me go beforehand only and give him taxes in advance. And he took taxes for few years. So Nanda Maharaj had so much opulence, it is explained by Vaishnava, he actually took taxes for few years so that Kamsa will not bother us. And paying taxes for next few years. So here is your share. So in order to satisfy Nirnam, Nanda Maharaj decided to go to pay taxes to Kamsa. And he put the local cowherd boys as in charge to protect the Brajbhumi when he was personally absent. I think we'll stop here. Thank you very much, dear devotees. So I think next week onwards we'll be reading primarily conversation between Nanda and Vasudev.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question. Is it okay to ask you, Prabhuji?
Yes, madam. Please go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, in this Kali Yuga means we have to pay taxes for the government is okay. But in Treta Yuga and Dwapara Yuga also, why they need to give the taxes to Kamsa? Because everyone is having their own this one they have all the sorry Prabhuji.
I understood your question, Madhi. Why to pay taxes, right?
Yeah, and they have everyone has land and they have their own land and everything, no Prabhuji. So
Yes.
that's
So see, Madhaji, we may have land, we may have everything of our own, we may be living in a remote village area, but there are always nefarious elements in the society, thieves and rogues. So administration of the state is very much required. There are always kings who actually protect the citizens from thieves, rogues, and plunderers. Okay, by punishing them, by killing them. Therefore, they have army, they have trained officials, they have laws, rules, and regulations made for everyone to follow. So suppose I have nice land and I have a nice home. Somebody comes with a gun and plunders me. I'm living in a remote village. Yes, I don't need to pay any taxes because I'm not obliged to anything. But then a thief comes, shows the gun and takes away all my riches. Whom should I go to? I go to the king. I go to the government. So they protect us. And therefore, the government would take some taxes. Because even to set up the machinery, the government has to have some income. And income comes from people whom the government protects, the king protects. So kings used to accept, according to the Vedas, 1/6 of the income, that is close to 17%, you know, 16 to 17% of income would go to the king. So if I earned $100, $17 go to the government. If I earn $1 million, still only 17% goes to the government. Everybody had same income bracket, So there was no question of somebody having more or less, like we have nowadays system. No, everybody was supposed to give 1/6 of their income to the king, and everybody would get equal protection by the king. Unlike the today's day and age, if you have money, then you get more protection. But if you don't have money, you don't even get justice. You can't even fight a case if you don't have money. So no question of even getting justice. It's a very pathetic state of society, but in the ancient times, that never used to be the case. Everybody used to give their 1/6 of their income to the king. King would protect. Sometimes the evil kings like Kamsa would appear, who would take the income, and they would take the taxes from people and also, uh, exploit the people in general for their own self-gratification. Like nowadays we see politicians. Most of the politicians all over the world, that's what they do. So Kamsa was also like a modern politician, but he was much, much more powerful. Modern politicians, they are kicked out in 4 or 5 years. They can do museums only for 4 or 5 years. But Kamsa, he could not be kicked out. He was the evil king. So yes, everybody used to pay taxes, and Nanda Maharaj also went to pay taxes.
thank you Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, Anand, please go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, you mentioned that that Mother Rohini was able to witness both Lord Krishna and Balram's pastimes. So was she more? Krishna was more merciful on Rohini than Mother Devaki, or how can we?
Definitely, Krishna was more merciful to Yashoda and Rohini than Mother Devaki. That is definitely the case. We already had discussed previously that Krishna was more merciful to Mother Devaki, Mother Yashoda than Devaki. And since Rohini also had that fortune, she's also very fortunate. Mahabhaga. Therefore, it is referred as Mahabhaga. Very fortunate.
Okay, thank you. Very well.
Again.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Ram.
Proji, the satisfaction of the, the king or leader, right? Looks like there is an external fear factor that makes the subordinate to please the king. Just like Nanda Maharaj in this case, he was going and giving the taxes of few years to Kamsa so that he won't bother him. So is it just a material principle in general, Prabhu, or are there any um, is there any spiritual significance of pleasing a leader or a superior when somebody is ruling or somebody is trying to do some heading some services?
Well, in the case of Nanda Maharaj, of course, there is no material fear. You know, he's very much saturated with love for his son, Krishna. As we said, Nanda Maharaj is thinking misfortunes come by displeasure of the five kinds of living entities. So let me satisfy all the five categories so that my son will not meet with the misfortunes. So there is saturation of love that misfortune should not fall upon my son. My son should always remain happy. And so, therefore, he's doing it. Ordinarily, yes, people in general have, they should have actually fear. Because we see the modern state of the society where people have become more or less atheistic. They don't care for fulfilling their obligations. When the government teaches people not to be obligated, not to fulfill their obligations, then people become indifferent to even government. They don't fulfill their obligation to government as well. Because people become irresponsible. Like in a modern society, the law of divorce, of course, there may be some genuine cases, but the law of divorce has become like a facility to be irresponsible. People who, I'll say, more than 90% divorces, I'll say maybe 99% divorces, they are nothing but misuse of their, what do you call, or trying to escape from their responsibility. Very few cases will be where when there's actually abuse happening and therefore man or woman want to get away from each other. So the government teaches to be irresponsible, and therefore people will become actually irresponsible. Same thing with abortions. People say, oh no, if the woman is raped, then there should be, facility. She doesn't want to keep the child. We'll keep reminding her for her misfortune. But how many abortions actually happen where there's actually somebody raped? 99% no. They're just misusing the facility that government may have provided. So people have learned to be irresponsible. But there should be fear of when the government teaches people to be irresponsible, then the government has much more a bigger headache because people will be irresponsible to government as well because that becomes their nature. If we are irresponsible to fulfill our obligations to Deva, Rishi, Pitris, and ordinary people, then we'll actually be irresponsible to government as well. And therefore, government has spent more and more money in the law enforcement. So, yes, the fear factor is actually very prominent. Without fear, there is no question of responsibility. People actually become irresponsible. It says fear is the beginning of wisdom. When people are fearful, they become wise. That if I do something nonsense, there'll be consequences. So yes, in general, people try to fulfill their obligation to the government out of fear. And that fear is a healthy fear, and it should be there. Sometimes I give example also. We see in current politics context, in India, you see last 10 years, not much, attacks of the, terrorism, because the government is strong, strict. If there is a terrorism attack, no arresting, punish them on the spot. So terrorists also have the fear of their life. Perhaps the previous government had given them assurance, even if you are, they had strict instructions to law enforcement not to kill terrorists. Okay, but current government, no. So even terrorists realize that, oh, if If I get caught, first of all, there's less, possibly that I'll be alive. But if I'm alive caught, still I have to lose my life. So when there is the fear, then people become responsible. So yes, paying taxes is generally out of fear. But Nanda Maharaj is not paying out of personal fear. He's saturated with love for Krishna, and to make sure that Krishna has all around prosperity. No fear from any of those 5 factors or curses from these 5 categories. He is, paying the taxes. So you can say, yes, he's fearful, but he's transcendently fearful for his son, Krishna. Really.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for clarifying.
Really.
Hare Krishna.
So I think we'll stop here. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha
Panchakalpadurubhasya kripa sindhubhyev cha paitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavibhyo.
namo namah Ananta Koti Vaishnava.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.